Hello, hello. Today we are going through the Modern Witch Tarot Deck by Lightseers Tarot and Chris Ann's the Lightseers Tarot. They both come in nice boxes, with the Modern Witch box being much nicer. But this one isn't horrible. It's still high quality. I don't actually store my cards in their original boxes. I have some vintage boxes that I've acquired, and then we also have an Etsy shop where we sell tarot card boxes, so mostly mine are stored in wooden boxes. The Lightseers Tarot Guide book is nice. It has a Lightseer version and Shadow Seer version for every card, and then a little manifestation sentence statement to make. The Modern Witch Guide is a hardback, but is much smaller. The Modern Witch Guide has 2 extra cards. I love this one. It says everything is fine, and she's got all these swords. I think there's 10 of them in her, and she's just still on her phone and kind of looks like she's sleeping. Maybe fell asleep with it in her hands or died with it in her hands. And then this says, you are a badass being full of life, love, and possibilities. Through this deck, may you find a path to your best self. I love that. There are major differences between these decks, so I'm not necessarily comparing them, but I do want to point out right away, even though the Lightseer deck is my favorite deck of all time, the quality of the cards is absolute crap. I don't know if you guys can see this at all because my light isn't the greatest, but even with gentle shuffling, the cards have marks on the back. They're already bending. The Modern Witch deck does not have that problem at all. The cards are amazing, absolutely amazing. So we're just going to go through and show the artwork for each of these cards. We have the Fool. I love this Fool. Love both of these Magicians. Beautiful. High Priestess. While I love both decks, the imagery on the Lightseers deck is just something that I was so drawn to, and also my husband got me these decks for my birthday, so I'm very connected to both of these decks, but the imagery on this deck is just something that literally speaks to my soul. I love the other deck, they're both great, but there's a feeling about the Lightseers deck that really resonates. There's the Emperor. Oops, these are not in order. Always something, right guys? The Lovers. This Lovers card, literally the best ever. This is the best version of the Lovers card I've ever seen. This is actually what made me want to get the deck. Got the Chariot. That's pretty badass right there. They're both really cool. Strength. The Hermit. I do like how the Modern Witch Tarot incorporates modern things like the cell phone and the laptop, and then just the light and the feeling of the cards. This is a really cool take on justice. It's like you have to look at yourself in the mirror and you have to kind of realize what the right thing is. I like that a lot. This says the Hanged One, which is definitely more forward thinking, and I like that. This one says the Hanged Man, but I like that both of these cards are strong female images. This is definitely the Death/Rebirth. Is definitely one of my favorite tarot cards. I think that I'm going to frame this deck. I'm going to get another deck so I can frame it. And that will definitely be a centerpiece, focal point. Temperance. The Devil. Definitely a huge difference here. Just in the feelings and the artwork. And one isn't better than the other, but you just are drawn in to one of them. And you might be drawn into this one when I'm drawn into that one. That's why I wanted to do this walkthrough with both decks side by side. Very different imagery throughout. Childlike, adorable, free spirit. My daughter is 13 and she really is getting into tarot cards, so this is not a deck I would purchase for her just because there is the nudity, which she will just be super immature about. So I got her a deck that didn't have any of that. This is a good card too. I like the look of that one. Gives me a really strong message. It's interesting to me that the Five of Swords doesn't actually have any swords. That might be bothersome to some people. That she doesn't use swords. She uses these birds. Very similar on this, which I like. They both look completely different, but if you look at them and get a feeling for them, they both feel very similar. I like when the cards resonate across the board rather than one feeling completely different. Another one of my favorite cards, I think because of the light bulbs, feels very creative. The Knight of Swords. I told my husband this was him because he would totally have the crossbow and the motorcycle and be running towards the danger instead of away from it. Very similar here too. King of Swords. Look at that. Kicking butt and taking names. I feel very, with both of these decks, there's a lot of feminine empowerment. Female empowerment just really feels good. Completely different images here, as you can see. The Ace of Wands. Two of Wands. Ah, that one's very similar too. Look at that. Love this. Seven of Wands. These are definitely different. Ten of Wands. Loving the Queen of Wands. King of Wands. Ace of Pentacles. Page of Pentacles. I feel like she's out there being grounded in the forest. Makes me feel like I could totally be in that card. One of my favorites, Three of Cups. Both of the images here are right on. You can totally feel the emotion in these cards. Like, both cards are drawn completely differently. But if you look at the women in their faces, it's just like, wow. This is a really beautiful card. I feel like it would be an awesome painting to have hanging on the wall. And this is what the other side of the cards look like. Again, the quality between these cards, it's not necessarily the thickness. They're both about the same. It's just about the quality. The Modern Witches Tarot just has a much better quality to it than the Lightseers Tarot. I love the Lightseers. It is my favorite deck of all time. But the quality definitely leaves something to be desired. If you have any requests for future decks, I have over 50 and I would love to share them with you. I just wanted to show you my favorites, and hopefully you like it and we'll do more.